What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So, the Detroit Riverfront CFO, William Smith, faces up to 20 years in federal prison after pleading guilty yesterday for stealing at least $44.3 million. Now, this money was supposed to revitalize the city of Detroit and their industrial riverfront, one of the largest and most lucrative criminal schemes in Detroit history. Y'all, let's get into this story. Let's hear from, let's hear from the people, and then I will read you the rest of the article. But I want to hear from the people of Detroit in regards to this case.
The Riverfront, I walk it myself, and so I know the value that it brings to this community. And so today, Mr. Smith took the first step at accepting responsibility for what he knows is what he did. And so we are thankful for that. But the scale and scope of it is quite frankly astonishing. And $40 million. Mr. Smith used it for his own personal gain, for his own real estate interests, for his personal businesses. But a large portion of it was just used to live a very lavish lifestyle. Trips for his families on first class airplanes, private planes, clothing, and other things, all at the expense of the people who were really working hard to beautify a riverfront that has been recognized as the best riverfront in America. And so the impact not only to the donors who wanted to help build that conservancy, but also to the people who were carrying out that goal has really had a significant impact on their morale. And I told them today, what you do is good. What you do is to help better this place for other people and bring some loveliness to this area.
That was the U.S. attorney.
It's immeasurable, and the impact that had.
So that was the U.S. attorney. Hold on, let me get her name really quickly. So that's U.S. Attorney Dawn Eisen, and she is helping prosecute Mr. William Smith. So Smith, who's 52 years old, see, if they give him 20 years, that's pretty much a life sentence. He admitted to the U.S. District Judge Susan DeClercq that he orchestrated a 12-year-long scheme that involved stealing money from the nonprofit and funneling the funds through one of his companies before prosecutors say that he spent the money buying luxury homes, real estate in 2 countries, jewelry, plane flights not for the NBA. Was he flying the NBA members? Because they have money. The NBA has a lot of money in their own planes, if I'm not mistaken. Minor league and amateur baseball players and more. Wow. So he was really making it rain. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. The money was transferred via wire transfer for my own personal use, Smith told the judge after taking a deep breath and rapidly reading a prepared statement. Sentencing is set for March 20th in federal court in Detroit. Wow. So officials, meanwhile, announced Friday they plan to complete a review of the nonprofit's group financial operations and announce a series of reforms to address lessons learned from the scandal, CEO Ryan Sullivan said in a statement. He says, "We're pleased to see that William Smith began to be held accountable for his disgraceful actions." Sullivan took over running the Conservancy in June after Smith was fired, and longtime CEO Mark Wallace resigned in the wake of the discovery of a years-long disappearance of cash on his watch. Wallace has not been implicated in any of Smith's alleged wrongdoing. About a dozen people connected came to see Smith at the courtroom in his admission of guilt. When Smith left the courtroom, an unidentified woman gave Smith the middle finger as she walked behind him. "This is a big sense of relief," Sullivan said. "There are raw feelings towards Smith for lying and deceiving coworkers for more than a decade." Wow, that is crazy. a decade, $44 million, trying to locate and recover the tens of millions of dollars that Smith stole remains a work in progress. Aside from the criminal case, they are suing Smith, several relatives, and a friend, alleging a conspiracy to steal from the nonprofit. Smith has agreed to pay at least $44.3 million in restitution. Now, how is he going to pay $44.3 million being locked behind bars at 52 years old? Okay. The victims in this case, it's generous donors, the people of the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, and everyone who enjoyed the International Riverfront consistently voted the greatest of its kind in the nation, Sullivan added. Smith pled guilty to one count each of wire fraud and money laundering in federal court in Detroit 6 months after officials placed him on leave and disclosed an investigation into financial management that is being handled by the Michigan State Police and later the FBI. Smith not only betrayed our trust, but he also betrayed the trust of the entire community. Also, he can enjoy the trappings of wealth and comfort, U.S. Attorney Don Eisen said in a statement. I remain shocked at the scale of the fraud and the harm it caused. And today's guilty plea is an important step toward holding Mr. Smith accountable for his outrageous conduct. I mean, I will say this, because I just made a video about Ms. Tina Knowles speaking out, and Candace Owens was alleging that Beyonce was paid $10 million. And I was talking about people pocket watching, but a nonprofit organization, they watch every penny that is, going in and out. A lot of times they're grant funded. And so when it comes to that type of money that is used for nonprofits and things like that, okay, that's understandable. But and that's just not smart. Like, why, when you're that heavily regulated and that that tax spending money so frivolously, it doesn't make sense. Like, he's flying out NBA players. In my opinion, that's a complete waste of money because I think every NBA team has their own private jet, and NBA players themselves are multimillionaires. So he's literally just, spending money, making it rain on money that's not even his, that belongs to the people of the city of Detroit, which is why he got the middle finger from that one woman. But, taking all these trips and going all these different places, if you work for a nonprofit, people are going to be watching not only how you spend the money, but your lifestyle. Like, typically people who work at nonprofit organizations, unless they're they're independently wealthy or something like that, they usually are not very flashy people. That's not Most people don't get into working with for nonprofits to be flashy. Like, they get into it because they want to help people, and so that doesn't line up. I could see if he was a businessman, an entrepreneur, entertainer, whatever, but that doesn't add up. So I feel like he pretty much set himself up for failure in regards to, you know, working for a nonprofit, and then he was stealing this money for over an entire decade. It does make me sad though, because I mean, times are hard, and the people of Detroit pulled together for this money to make their riverfront a better place for the city. It says Smith was also accused of paying off American Express cards with the money from the riverfront. Credit card bills obtained by the Detroit News show that more than $771,000 worth of purchases in the 8-month period from 2012 to 2013. The documents portray Smith as a generous and decadent tipper. I'm sure if it's not his money, In July 2013, Smith's credit card was used to buy plane tickets for 22 people. Oh my goodness, to fly them to Las Vegas. He bought $50,000 of jewelry in one day in a Southfield diamond store and left a $100 tip on a $2,547 bill at a nightclub. That is crazy. He was spending money like he was in the NBA. $50,000 worth of jewelry in one day. I feel like that would set off, like an alert for your credit card company or your bank or whatever, just because of they might suspect fraud. Like you can't even leave the country. Well, you can, but it's always a good idea. Like if you leave the country, just to give your bank a heads up so that they don't freeze your account. And then you'll be stuck, overseas trying to prove that it's you. But that is crazy. And the thing is too, like he didn't even spend any of these things on any like assets, like he didn't buy any like houses or apartment buildings or anything worth anything. He was spending jewelry and nightclubs and plane tickets and just foolishness, foolish purchases, in my opinion. Um, but anyway, I just wanted to bring you guys that story because, keep you abreast on what's going on in the news cycle. But yes, sir, I mean, that's real. 44 million dollars, 44.3. I don't want to leave out that three because that three is 300,000. That's a huge chunk of change. So $44.3 million he stole from the people of the city of Detroit. That is crazy. But they're going to he's facing up to 20 years in jail. So hopefully, I'll circle back with the sentencing, but he's 52. So 20 years is 72. That's pretty much the rest of your life. In my opinion, it's not worth it. It is not worth it. Plane tickets are nice and, trips to Vegas and going to a nightclub and jewelry and stuff, but that stuff is just stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you enjoy the experiences, but how much can you enjoy it knowing that it's stolen money? Like that has to bother your conscience. And paying, for plane tickets for 22 people, flying out NBA players, that to me was just foolish. He was just throwing these people's money down the drain. It's unfortunate. But I hope that they can, maybe recoup it. Maybe I'm hoping that it was protected by the federal government, the FDIC, and they can recoup that loss. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, but you guys, let me know your thoughts on this situation. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.